in the heart of an alien arena, where the fate of entire worlds hangs in the balance. The legendary Warlord, sir, the unyielding faces his greatest challenge. Not from a mighty foe, but from a seemingly insignificant human cadet. With only a combat knife and her wits, Lieutenant Emma Rhodes must defy the impossible and prove that true strength isn't about size or power, but the will to never surrender. In a fight that will shake the galaxy to its core, one human will show the universe that even the most invincible warlord can be brought to his knees. The arena is a grand, intimidating structure designed to showcase the brutality and drama of intergalactic duels. Alien machinery hums in the background, filling the vast space with an eerie, mechanical rhythm that adds to the tension in the air. The crowd is a mixed assembly of various alien species, all gathered to witness the spectacle of a duel between two combatants from vastly different worlds. Their murmurs ripple through the arena, creating an undercurrent of disbelief as they observe the participants take their places. In the center of the arena stands the towering figure of HFY, the galactic warlord known across the stars as the Unyielding. His massive, muscular frame casts a shadow that seems to swallow the light, making him look even more imposing. HFY is a living legend, undefeated in combat for centuries, and his name alone strikes fear into the hearts of those who hear it. His reputation is one of unmatched power and dominance, and the crowd, made up of a variety of species who have witnessed his past victories, anticipates yet another effortless conquest. On the other side of the arena, Lieutenant Emma Rhodes stands in stark contrast to the warlord. A young human cadet, barely out of the academy, her slender form looks almost fragile compared to HFY's gargantuan presence. She is dressed in simple military attire and carries no weapon other than a basic combat knife strapped to her thigh, an unassuming choice in the face of the powerful opponent before her. To the crowd, especially those from the more powerful alien species, this is not a fight, it is an execution. They see Emma's small frame and the lack of any serious weapon as a clear indicator that she stands no chance against the mighty HFY. The vastness of the arena, the hum of alien machinery, and the mixed reactions of the crowd all contribute to a tense and almost suffocating atmosphere. The situation seems set for a one-sided battle, where the only possible outcome appears to be Emma's swift defeat. However, despite the overwhelming odds, Emma stands her ground. Her eyes meet HFY's gaze, unwavering and full of determination, signaling that she is far from the frightened lamb the warlord believes her to be. This moment sets the stage for what will become a battle of will, strategy, and resilience, a contest that is about much more than mere physical power. As the duel commences, the tension in the arena reaches its peak. The crowd is on edge, awaiting the moment when the two combatants will collide in a violent, almost ritualistic display of strength and skill. HFY, with his decades of battle experience, begins the fight with a roar that echoes across the arena. He lunges forward, swinging his massive war axe in a wide, powerful arc designed to crush and overwhelm his opponent. The sheer size and weight of the weapon make it clear that this is not just an ordinary strike. It's an attack meant to intimidate and demoralize. His presence alone is enough to shake the foundations of the arena. Emma, despite her smaller size and lack of heavy weaponry, does not falter. She recognizes that she cannot match HFY in terms of strength and power. The key to surviving this battle, as she had studied in preparation for this moment, is to rely on speed, agility, and precision. As HFY's war axe swings toward her, she doesn't attempt to block or parry the strike, an effort that would be futile given the warlord's immense strength. Instead, she ducks and rolls with swift precision, narrowly avoiding the devastating blow. The impact of the war axe hitting the ground sends a shower of sparks flying through the air, but Emma is already moving, fast and fluid, her body seemingly anticipating the next strike before it even comes. This moment highlights Emma's tactical brilliance. While HFY relies on brute force and overwhelming physical strength, Emma's movements are quick, calculated, and deliberate. Her ability to evade HFY's massive weapon is not the result of mere luck, but rather careful planning and acute awareness of her opponent's fighting style. Sci-Fi, used to subduing opponents with his sheer might, is frustrated by her elusiveness. Each swing of his axe meets only empty space, as Emma continues to move with the grace and speed of someone who has studied her opponent thoroughly. She is not attempting to outmuscle him. She is outthinking him. This difference in approach marks the beginning of what could be the first signs of hope for humanity against an alien force that has ruled the galaxy with iron fists for centuries. The audience, initially expecting a swift and easy victory for Sci-Fi, begins to murmur in disbelief. The Warlord, who is renowned for his ferocity and power, is being outmaneuvered by a human cadet, a species that many in the crowd believe to be weak and insignificant. The reaction of the crowd shifts from mockery and amusement to confusion and uncertainty. Could this human, despite all odds, stand a chance? Emma's strategy begins to take shape before their eyes, and she is no longer merely surviving. She is controlling the flow of the battle. As Sci-Fi grows increasingly frustrated, it becomes clear that Emma's resolve, intelligence, and speed are her greatest weapons, and they may be enough to turn the tide of the battle in her favor. As the battle rages on, the true brilliance of Emma's strategy becomes apparent. Unlike Sci-Fi, who depends heavily on his immense physical strength and intimidating presence to overpower his opponents, Emma's approach is fundamentally different. Her agility, intellect, and understanding of Sci-Fi's combat style become her key assets. She had spent weeks studying his battle footage, analyzing his patterns, strengths, and weaknesses. Every move, every swing of Sci-Fi's war axe was something she had anticipated and prepared for. This deep understanding of her opponent allows her to not just survive, but to gain control of the fight. Emma's ability to read Sci-Fi's actions is remarkable. While he is relentless in his attacks, Emma doesn't simply dodge. She actively uses his aggression against him. Each swing of the war axe is predictable. It follows a pattern of brute force and power. Sci-Fi's confidence in his physical prowess leads him to underestimate Emma's resilience and intelligence. Emma, on the other hand, capitalizes on his overconfidence. Her swift movements are deliberate, avoiding his strikes just enough to make him miss, while also positioning herself for an opportunity to strike back. It's not about brute force. Emma's weapon is her mind, and she's using it to her advantage, turning Sci-Fi's own strength into a liability. As the fight progresses, Emma's tactic becomes clearer. She's wearing Sci-Fi down. The Warlord, once so confident in his ability to defeat her with sheer might, begins to tire. His strikes become more erratic, less calculated, as his frustration mounts. Emma, however, is methodical in her movements, never rushing or making reckless decisions. Every action she takes is carefully considered, designed to keep Sci-Fi off balance, to frustrate him, and to create an opening. Her calculated strikes are not intended to end the fight immediately, but rather to chip away at Sci-Fi's confidence, to make him doubt himself, and to exploit his physical limitations. The moment when Sci-Fi starts to falter marks a pivotal shift in the duel. His previous assurance of victory begins to crack, and the realization that he may not be invincible starts to seep in. It's a psychological shift as much as a physical one. The crowd, who had once seen Sci-Fi as a nearly unstoppable force, now begins to see the glimmer of hope for Emma. The Warlord's reliance on brute force, once an overwhelming advantage, becomes a weakness in the face of Emma's intelligent, agile, and precise combat style. This moment is a powerful reminder that strength is not the only determining factor in battle. Intelligence, patience, and strategic thinking can level the playing field, even against the most formidable of foes. Emma's resilience and ability to adapt to Sci-Fi's tactics slowly transform her from a mere cadet into a formidable adversary. As the duel intensifies, Sci-Fi, the renowned Galactic Warlord, begins to miscalculate the true nature of his opponent, Lieutenant Emma Rhodes. Initially, he sees the young human cadet as no more than a weakling, an easy target to be dispatched quickly, reinforcing his belief that humans are a lesser species in the grander cosmic hierarchy. To Sci-Fi, Emma's appearance, small, unarmed, and lacking the sheer brute strength of his other foes, reinforces his arrogance. However, Emma's performance in the fight shatters his assumptions and forces him to confront a crucial reality. Humanity's resilience is far beyond what he had anticipated. Emma's ability to dodge and evade Sci-Fi's powerful attacks is not just due to her physical agility, but is also a testament to humanity's enduring spirit, an inherent refusal to be defeated. While Sci-Fi relies on his overwhelming strength and size to crush his enemies, he quickly realizes that Emma's persistence and determination are not so easily broken. Each time he misses or falters, Emma's resolve seems to only grow stronger. This determination is something Sci-Fi has never encountered before. He is accustomed to facing races that either surrender when overwhelmed or are physically incapable of continuing the fight. But Emma's relentless drive, her refusal to back down, confuses him and starts to undermine his confidence. For the first time in centuries, Sci-Fi faces an adversary who doesn't break under pressure, but adapts and fights harder. Sci-Fi's initial approach to the fight is one of overwhelming force. He believes that by simply using his immense size and power, he can crush any opponent. But as the duel progresses, he begins to struggle with the realization that this is not working with Emma. Her strategic evasions and targeted attacks are not only frustrating him, but also draining him. He underestimates the endurance and the mental fortitude of the human spirit. Sci-Fi, a being who is ruled through fear and brute strength, is caught off guard by the human tenacity and willpower. Unlike the species he's conquered before, whose resolve shatters at the first sign of defeat, Emma embodies a quality that is quintessentially human: the will to never give up, no matter how dire the situation. This persistence is rooted in the very essence of humanity's survival instinct. Emma, like many humans, is fighting not just for herself, but for her people, her planet, and everything that has been threatened by the Galactic Warlord's rule. This collective willpower drives her to continue, even when the odds are overwhelmingly stacked against her. For Sci-Fi, this is an unknown and unsettling factor. His entire history of dominance over weaker species has led him to believe that strength and size are all that matter. However, in Emma, he encounters an adversary who shows him that there is more to combat than simply overpowering an opponent. As Sci-Fi's frustration mounts, he starts to show signs of fatigue. His over-reliance on his brute strength begins to backfire, and he grows more erratic in his attacks, failing to anticipate Emma's next move. This shift is significant because it signals that Sci-Fi is no longer in control of the duel. His pride and arrogance have clouded his judgment, and he begins to underestimate his opponent in a way that no true warrior should. While he is powerful, he is not invincible, and Emma's resilience is now breaking through the veneer of his invulnerability. The arena becomes charged with the realization that humanity, often dismissed as weak, has something that even the most feared warlord in the galaxy cannot account for: an unyielding will to survive and to fight back against overwhelming odds. As the fight escalates, the pivotal moment of the duel arrives, marking the shift from Sci-Fi's dominance to Emma's unexpected retaliation. Sci-Fi, worn down by his own unrelenting strength and arrogance, underestimates the young human cadet's capability to turn the tide of battle. This moment not only highlights Emma's remarkable agility and intellect, but also her strategic understanding of combat dynamics. Instead of continuing her evasive tactics, which had served her well up until this point, Emma transitions into a more aggressive and calculated approach, showing that her strategy goes beyond mere survival and into the realm of outright defiance. In this critical moment, Emma's quick thinking and precise actions are put to the test. As Sci-Fi, enraged by his inability to land a decisive blow, charges at her once again with all the force his massive frame can muster, Emma makes a bold decision. She steps into his attack rather than away from it, demonstrating a keen understanding of timing and distance. This decision is not one born of reckless bravery, but rather an informed and deliberate action based on her deep analysis of Sci-Fi's combat style. She has studied him extensively, recognizing that his reliance on brute force leaves him vulnerable in certain areas. By stepping into the attack, Emma utilizes her smaller size and speed to her advantage, allowing her to slip beneath Sir Rayvar's massive weapon and strike at a critical joint in his armor. Her strike, though not fatal, is enough to cause a significant disruption in the Warlord's offensive. By driving her combat knife into a vulnerable joint in Sir Rayvar's armor, Emma temporarily disables his arm, leaving him momentarily paralyzed. This is the moment when the tide of the battle begins to turn, not because of superior strength, but because Emma's strategy and precision have found a weak point in the seemingly invulnerable Warlord's defenses. The injury, while not fatal, serves as a powerful symbol of Emma's brilliance and tactical superiority. It is a reminder to both the audience and Sci-Fi himself that raw power alone is not enough to guarantee victory. Intelligence, adaptability, and timing are just as important. This strike serves as the catalyst for a dramatic shift in the duel's dynamics. The arena, which had previously been filled with disbelief at Emma's survival, now echoes with awe. The crowd, once convinced that Sir Rayvar's victory was inevitable, begins to sense that something extraordinary is happening. For the first time, they see a human, someone they thought of as an inferior species, not just holding her own, but actively gaining the upper hand against the mighty Warlord. Sir Rayvar, who once believed he was invincible, is now visibly faltering. The moment Emma strikes back with such precision marks the beginning of the end for Sir Rayvar's arrogance. As Emma continues to target Sir Rayvar's weak points, each movement becomes more calculated, more deliberate. She doesn't rush or flail with reckless abandon. Instead, she systematically chips away at his confidence and physical prowess. The Warlord's previous unshakable certainty is slowly crumbling under the weight of Emma's persistence. She is relentless, striking again and again, each blow a reminder that even the most powerful beings can be defeated by someone who refuses to give up, who fights with intelligence rather than sheer strength. Sir Rayvar is no longer in control. He is reacting to Emma's moves, rather than dictating the flow of the battle. The turning point in the fight is now undeniable. Emma has taken control, and Sir Rayvar, for the first time in centuries, is facing an adversary who is capable of defeating him not with brute force, but with strategy and resilience. The climax of the duel arrives in the final confrontation between Lieutenant Emma Rhodes and Sir Rayvar, the Unyielding. By this point in the battle, the Warlord's arrogance and overwhelming confidence have been shattered. What began as a fight that seemed destined for Emma's defeat has now become a tense and pivotal moment in galactic history. The Warlord, once a symbol of unstoppable power, is brought to the brink of his own collapse, and for the first time, he is forced to confront the unthinkable, the possibility of defeat at the hands of a human cadet. As Emma stands over the Warlord, her knife poised at his throat, the entire arena falls silent. The deafening cheers and roars from the crowd have given way to an eerie stillness, as all eyes are now on the pair locked in this fateful moment. Sir Rayvar, the seemingly invincible warlord who had subjugated countless worlds and commanded fear across the stars, lies defeated, physically vulnerable and mentally overwhelmed. His massive chest rises and falls with labored breaths, his pride, once unshakable, now broken. The shock is evident not only in Sir Rayvar's eyes, but also in the expressions of those watching from the stands, many of whom have been under the oppressive rule of the Warlord for years. Despite the intensity of the situation, Emma remains calm and resolute. Her voice rings out with an unwavering authority as she commands Sir Rayvar to yield. Yield, she says, her tone steady but firm. The word carries immense weight. This is not just a battle for her own survival, but for the survival and dignity of all those oppressed by the Warlord's tyranny. Her command is not born of anger or vengeance, but of a calm, rational strength that contrasts sharply with the brutish force that Sir Rayvar had used throughout the fight. Emma's success is not in overcoming Sir Rayvar's strength, but in exploiting his weaknesses, his pride, his overconfidence, and his underestimation of her. She has outsmarted him at every turn, and now, in this moment of victory, she demands his submission, not with rage, but with the quiet dignity of someone who knows their worth and the power of their resolve. The arena holds its breath, and for the first time in centuries, the mighty Sci-Fi, who has never known defeat, lowers his head. The Warlord, once feared across the galaxy, yields to a human, a species he had long considered inferior. This submission is not only a personal loss for Sci-Fi, but also a monumental shift in the balance of power in the galaxy. For him, it is a humiliating surrender, one that forces him to confront his own limitations. He has been bested not by physical strength, but by the determination, intelligence, and resilience of a human who refused to give up. Emma's victory resonates far beyond the battlefield. She does not gloat or celebrate. Her actions are measured and composed, marking her as a leader of immense character. By simply nodding in acknowledgement and walking away, she demonstrates the strength of someone who understands that true victory does not lie in humiliation or conquest, but in the courage to stand firm and honor one's principles. The audience, initially shocked, begins to erupt into cheers, but not just from the humans present. Across the galaxy, countless others who have suffered under Sci-Fi's rule feel a wave of hope and vindication. Emma's triumph is symbolic of the resilience of the oppressed and the power of those who refuse to bow to tyranny, no matter how great. For Sci-Fi, this moment is a haunting realization. The memory of this defeat will linger with him, a constant reminder that strength alone is not enough to guarantee dominance. Emma Rhodes has shown him that even the most powerful beings in the universe can be brought to their knees by the will of a single human determined to fight for what is right. As the Warlord grapples with his defeat, he is left to ponder the true nature of strength, that it is not simply about overwhelming force, but about perseverance, intelligence, and the ability to rise above adversity, qualities that, in the end, Emma embodied far more than him. After Emma's stunning victory over Sci-Fi the Unyielding, the entire galactic arena is left in a state of shock and awe. What was once an unthinkable outcome, humanity's defeat of one of the most powerful and ruthless warlords in the universe, has become a symbol of something much larger than just individual triumph. This victory is a testament to the fact that true strength does not lie in raw power alone, but in the resilience, ingenuity, and courage to confront overwhelming odds. Emma Rhodes' success proves that humanity's greatest strength is not physical might, but the will to endure, adapt, and overcome. The implications of Emma's victory ripple far beyond the confines of the arena. Sci-Fi, a warlord who had struck fear into the hearts of countless civilizations, is bested not by brute force, but by the sheer determination and cleverness of a human cadet. This realization sends shockwaves throughout the galaxy, especially among those who had long been under the oppression of Sci-Fi's reign. Many alien species who had been crushed by his might are now filled with a sense of hope, seeing for the first time that a species they had long considered inferior, the humans, have the potential to stand against the most powerful forces in the universe. Emma's victory signals to the oppressed across the galaxy that they are not alone, and that, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable power, resistance is possible. For Earth, Emma's victory represents more than just a symbolic triumph. It is a moment of profound transformation for humanity as a whole. The belief that humans are weak or insignificant in the grand scheme of the galaxy is irrevocably shattered. The message is clear. Humanity's strength lies not in sheer physical strength or advanced technology, but in the resilience and adaptability of its people. Despite centuries of adversity, wars, and challenges, humans have shown that their will to survive and protect their values can outlast even the most seemingly invincible of enemies. This victory sparks a newfound confidence among humans, who begin to see themselves not as victims of the cosmos, but as a force to be reckoned with in the galactic arena. In the aftermath of the duel, Emma becomes a symbol, not only for humanity, but for the power of intelligence and resilience in the face of overwhelming strength. She is not celebrated as a mere warrior, but as a leader who embodied humanity's greatest qualities: adaptability, courage, and strategic thinking. Her victory proves that even the smallest of actions, the most precise of strikes, can make the difference between survival and annihilation. While Sci-Fi relied on brute force and intimidation to maintain his power, Emma's strength came from her ability to outthink and outmaneuver her opponent. She used her knowledge of Sci-Fi's tactics, her quick thinking, and her unwillingness to give up as the tools that ultimately led to his downfall. Furthermore, Emma's victory serves as a reminder that victory does not always come from overwhelming might, but from the unwavering belief in one's cause and the determination to stand firm. Even when faced with the impossible, Emma never faltered, and this is what made her strength far more formidable than any weapon or warlord's power. The fight was not just about one person's survival, but about proving to the universe that humanity's spirit cannot be easily crushed. Ultimately, Emma Rhodes' triumph over Sci-Fi is a clarion call to the galaxy that humanity's strength is not defined by their size or weaponry, but by their ability to rise above challenges. It is the beginning of a new era for humans, where they are no longer seen as a lesser species, but as one capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with the most advanced and powerful civilizations in the universe. Emma's victory, therefore, is not just a personal one, but a defining moment for humanity, proving that strength lies not in overwhelming power, but in the heart, will, and unyielding resolve to fight for what is right. In the wake of Emma Rhodes' unexpected victory, Sci-Fi the Unyielding is forced to confront the profound and unsettling truth of his defeat. For centuries, he has been the epitome of power and invincibility, a warlord whose name was feared across the galaxy. His strength, his mastery of combat, and his ruthless tactics had allowed him to conquer countless worlds. He had never once been defeated, let alone by a human, a species he had long considered inferior and beneath his notice. The reality of his fall from grace begins to sink in. Sci-Fi's pride, built on years of untouchable dominance, has been shattered by a human cadet who showed him that even the mightiest can be undone. This defeat is not just a blow to his ego, but a total upheaval of his worldview. Sci-Fi had always believed that strength and power were the ultimate measures of superiority. He had underestimated humanity, dismissing them as weak and insignificant in the grand scope of the universe. However, his defeat at the hands of Emma Rhodes forces him to reckon with the fact that strength is not solely measured by physical might or the ability to crush one's enemies through sheer force. Emma's victory reveals to Sci-Fi that there are other forms of power. Power found in resilience, intelligence, and the will to resist, no matter the odds. These are forces Sci-Fi had never accounted for, and it is this realization that haunts him in the aftermath of his defeat. Sci-Fi's failure is further compounded by the fact that he is now a symbol of everything that is wrong with his approach to domination. His overconfidence, arrogance, and reliance on brute strength led him to underestimate the human spirit. While he thought of the fight as a mere game, a simple display of his superiority, Emma approached it with everything she had. She studied his tactics, anticipated his moves, and exploited his weaknesses. Sci-Fi's failure becomes a warning to all those who rely solely on their physical power without understanding the full spectrum of what makes an enemy dangerous. Emma's victory represents the intelligence, resourcefulness, and adaptability that often defeat the most powerful forces in the galaxy, a lesson Sci-Fi learns too late. The psychological toll of this defeat is also profound for Sci-Fi. For centuries, he had imposed his will on weaker species, ruling through fear and overwhelming force. The idea that his own pride and sense of superiority were ultimately the causes of his downfall fills him with anger, confusion, and disbelief. He is not simply a defeated warlord. He is a broken symbol of tyranny, a reminder of the limits of unchecked power. Sci-Fi's internal struggle after his defeat is one of self-reflection, regret, and perhaps even a dawning realization that his reign was built on a fragile foundation. His entire identity, which had been constructed around the idea of invincibility, begins to crumble. In contrast, Emma's triumph over Sci-Fi marks a new beginning for humanity. Her victory becomes an inspiration not just for Earth, but for all the oppressed civilizations across the galaxy. She has shown that the strength of a species is not just in their ability to fight back, but in their ability to outlast, outthink, and rise above their adversaries. Emma's actions have laid the groundwork for a new era in which humans are seen not as an afterthought, but as a force to be reckoned with. She has proven that, despite humanity's relatively humble beginnings, they possess the potential to alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Cr. defeat, while devastating for him, sparks a legacy that changes the course of galactic history. His empire, once thought to be unassailable, is now vulnerable. The galaxy, which had lived in fear of his reign, begins to see that even the most powerful beings can be brought low. Emma Rhodes, in her determination, strategic brilliance, and unyielding spirit, has inspired a new hope among the oppressed and shown the universe that strength is not just about power, but the will to keep fighting. For Cr. the defeat marks the beginning of a personal downfall, a process of internal decay that reflects the ultimate flaw in his worldview. That power, when it is misused, ultimately leads to destruction.